Good morning. Thank you for watching this video today. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and click on that subscribe link so you don't miss any of my videos or future updates. So today I'm gonna show you how I set up my Coco Coir for gardening for peppers and tomatoes. So right here I have my Coco Coir, sorry, I can't say the word right. So this is a 5-gallon grow bag that I got from Amazon. And inside I have about 4.5 gallons of worth of Coco Coir. So I haven't rinsed this or washed it or anything. The reason for that is because I plan to use it as a regular gardening, but there's several ways you can use the Coco Coir. One of them is by adding everything you need yourself. You can also use hydroponic fertilizer if you don't want to use any of this, but if you do go that route, that means you would have to wash it out really well and then buffer it. So I don't plan to do that. I like going in cocoa just because it holds really good moisture, and I've had a lot of luck in the past using cocoa, and I just wanted to show you what I do to set it up. Alright, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this in here, and I'm only doing it that way I can mix all my ingredients that you see over there, just to make it a little bit easier to mix, and then I'll put it back into the bag. Alright, so before I begin, let me just show you everything I'm gonna be using. Keep in mind that you don't need all of this stuff. This is just extra things that I add to mine. So here I have the Dolomite. It's a Dolomite line. It has the calcium and magnesium. One thing to keep in mind with this one is it is a slow release, so it does take some time for it to start releasing nutrients. So if you're needing calcium, or if you're needing calcium now, then I would recommend the calcium nitrate. But this is good for starting a new pot as far as cocoa goes. Over here I have the Azomite. This stuff is great. It has all the micronutrients that your plants are going to need. So I like using this in my tomatoes and my peppers. It comes from volcanoes, by the way, but it pretty much gives you all the micronutrients that you need. So I believe there's like 70 different type of micronutrients in this. All right. I also have Michaels. You don't really need this to start a Coco Coir garden. I like it because it has a lot of beneficial bacteria for the plant and the soil. It does have an NPK of 303, but it's okay to use it every 2 weeks if you want to mix it in with water. Or what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna add it to the soil. So this is gonna help. It's gonna help with the bacteria in the soil, and it also has other micronutrients that are good for the plant. I also have Silica. This is another one you don't really need, but I like including it because it's good for the plants. So this helps with the plant being a little bit stronger when it comes to fighting off insects, as well as extreme temperatures. So here in Colorado, it gets really hot, it can get really cold, all in one day. So Silica will help the plant stay strong through those extreme weather changes. And like I said, it helps keep bugs off because it builds that little plastic or cellular layer on the plant. I also have bat guano. I personally, I've never tried it on cocoa. I've used it on my soil, but I've had a lot of luck with the bat guano. I've always get really big plants. So I'm going to try it with the cocoa. So this is the first time trying it with the cocoa. Here I have phosphate. This is really strong stuff. So phosphate is good. You don't really need it either, but I think it's recommended. It helps with the plant absorbing or taking nutrients, so it grows a little bit stronger. It's also really good with the flowering stage. And over here I have water storing crystals. You don't really need this either, just because cocoa already stores a lot of water. But for me, this is just a backup in case I forget to water it. Sometimes I work crazy hours and I do forget to water my plants. So this is just an extra layer of protection for me. And then the last two things I have the perlite. I'm only going to be using a little bit of perlite only because this gives aeration to the soil. But I want the soil to retain the nutrients in the water. So I'm going to be using vermiculite, which is good for holding moisture. And I'm going to be using more of this than this. This is what the soil looks like. So I went ahead and dumped it into this tote here, just so that I can mix all the nutrients and fertilizers and everything that I got for this, the minerals. I had them sitting over there for a few days only because we haven't been having very good weather. It's been really hot. Plus we were getting rain and snow, or excuse me, hailstorm or hail. Which is the reason why some of these plants are badly damaged. I was at work when it happened, so I didn't have time to move them. So they got pretty beat up with the hail. But they are doing well. They're starting to recover. So today I'm gonna transplant this one right here. Or actually I was thinking maybe these two. So this one is a sweet bell pepper. You can tell because the leaves are a little bit darker. And then these two are Anaheim peppers. Although I'm thinking maybe I should do this one because it's a little bit bigger. I haven't pruned or topped these, although the hailstorm did some of the pruning for me, just not the way I wanted it to. But yeah. Oh, one more thing. So here I have the Dolomite. So I have 1 tablespoon per soil in here. So I have 4 tablespoons. I have the Azomite. I have a total of 12 tablespoons in here. And I also have the phosphate in there. So I have 1 tablespoon of phosphate in there. And this is going to be for approximately 4.5 gallons of cocoa. And then this one, I have the Mycos mixed in, and I have the Silica. So the little white bottle in that little bag right there. Oh, and I have half a or 2 1/4 teaspoons in here of each. This is the water and storing crystals. I'm not going to use very much, and like I said, only because I already have vermiculite in there as well, and then the cocoa is a really good moisture holder. Now, if you're wanting to skip using all these stuff, there's only one item I would really recommend. Well, 2 of them actually. But I do recommend the Azomite if you don't want to use everything I have here, just so that you can get those micronutrients. And if you are transplanting, I would recommend the Dolomite, but this is a big if. The reason I'm using the Dolomite lime is because it does have calcium and magnesium in it, and it's slow release. But another reason is because I didn't wash my cocoa, so I basically broke it down and then I left it in here. So my pH should be a lot less. I'm guessing maybe around 4, but we'll check at the very end. So the Dolomite is going to raise the pH on this, or on the soil that I have here. So if you wash it really well, you know, then you won't really need the Dolomite. You'll just have to make sure that you do get your calcium and magnesium in here. But if you're wanting, you can use the shaken feed for Miracle-Gro for tomatoes, fruits, and vegetables. Sorry, the camera is backwards because I'm using the front of my phone. This feeds you for up to 3 months. And like I said, I would recommend this with the Azomite and the Dolomite, depending. But this one basically has everything you need in it. And then the only thing it's not very high in is phosphorus, which is the reason why I'm using phosphate. You don't really need it, but I like using it. So I guess it just depends on what you want to use. But yeah, this is all in one. You don't have to use Miracle-Gro. There's a lot of other granular fertilizers out there. I personally I've had really good luck with Miracle-Gro, so that's the reason why I like to personally use it. Okay, alright, so let me just move this up here. I'm gonna see if I can adjust this right here so that you can see the sand. Here, I have the phosphate, which is 1 tablespoon of phosphate. I have the Azomite. There's 12 tablespoons of Azomite in here, and it's and then I have the Dolomite. I have 4 tablespoons of Dolomite in here. So basically 1 tablespoon per gallon of soil, and then this one is 1 tablespoon technically for up to like 7.5 gallons, but it's okay to use a little bit more since we're doing a transplant. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start by mixing everything in. I just kinda, I don't want the powder flying everywhere. So I'm just gonna go ahead and mix it in really well. So I went ahead and mixed in my top ingredients in here, and you can probably see a little bit of the Azomite here and there, but yeah, so I made sure I mixed it in really well. Next one I'm gonna mix in, like I said, this is not needed, but I like using them in my plants. So I have the Mycos Plus, and I have the Silica. I'll put links below to show you where I got my stuff, or add this in. And I'm gonna do it the same way. So I'm just gonna dig a little hole and then throw it in there. Just because it is a little bit windy, so I kind of waited for a day where it wasn't windy. I'm gonna cover it up, and I'm gonna do the same. Okay, so I went ahead and mixed that in. So I only have 2 more ingredients to mix in. I only have a tablespoon of water storing crystals. Like I said, the cocoa is already great at storing water, but as I mentioned earlier, this is just an extra layer of protection in case I forget to water them. Okay, so here I have some perlite. I'm not using very much. Perlite is really good at providing aeration for your plants. So the more, or something to keep in mind, the more perlite you have in your cocoa, the more watering you're going to have to do. So the less watering you want to do, you want to use less of this. But I am putting in there just so I can keep some aeration in the soil, only because I want the bacteria and everything to grow really well. So I'm just going to go ahead and spray that on top. And that's what it looks like when I do that. Okay. Here I have my permiculite, or excuse me, my vermiculite. I'm gonna use 2 of these. Vermiculite is really good for holding moisture in the soil. It's really good at storing the nutrients in it. So like I said, this is part of my extra layer of protection in case I forget to water it. In the past, I've maybe gone about 2 or 3 days without watering, and the moisture was still doing really well. And I think it all to the extra water storing crystals and permiculite, or vermiculite, sorry. So I'm gonna go ahead and add that one too, and do one more. Alright, and I'm gonna go ahead and mix this in. have 4.5 gallons. So with the bat guano, which is this one right here, I'm only going to use 1 tablespoon per gallon. So in this case, I'm going to use 4 tablespoons to fertilize it, and then in 30 days I'll add another 4 tablespoons. And I'll be doing one of the peppers, but I just wanted to show you how I set up my Coco Coir. If you want, you can continue watching the video, and I'll go ahead and do the transplant for one of these peppers here, and I'll add the guano. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna transfer the soil back into here, and this is a 5-gallon grow. Another reason I really like these, I tend to overwater. This is a really good way to make sure all that extra moisture doesn't stay in your pot. All right, so now I'm just gonna start transferring my dirt or my cocoa into the bag. Oops, I lost a little bit. I don't know if you saw that. I have a little bit left. So I'm just going to use that on a separate, on another pot. I'm probably going to put it in here. Okay, so I didn't tell you this in the beginning, but I am wearing a mask. So I do recommend that you wear it when you're doing the bat guano or any fine particles. You don't want that. You don't want to be breathing it in. It's a little bit windy, so. And then I'm also going to be wearing gloves to touch the soil. Since I did mix the phosphorus and other chemicals in there, I just want to be a little bit safe. When I pre-measured all my ingredients, the minerals and everything, I was wearing gloves. So like anytime I mess around with the phosphate, this one right here, I always put on gloves. So just make sure that you are being safe. Okay, so I'm gonna move it this way, and I will do this one right here. This is a Anaheim pepper. It is 45 days old, I think it is. It got badly damaged the other day during a hail storm. I was at work when it happened, so yeah, kind of sad about that. But it's okay. Plants are really resilient. So with these are peat. Peat, you can plant it with it on. Sometimes I have planted them with them on, and sometimes it depends. But I like taking them off just because I want the roots. I'm trying to be careful here, because I want the roots to start spreading out through the container, and those are healthy roots there. So put a little bit more soil in there. I think that should be good. Okay. And I'm just going to go ahead and plant it with the original soil. So I'm just going to cover the top layer a little bit. And I'm just going to firmly press down. Alright. Okay, so that part is good. And then the final, or second to the final step, is I'm going to go ahead and add fertilizer. So here's my bat guano. It has an NPK of 731. This is what the bat guano looks like. It does have a smell. I can smell it from here, but it's really one of the best organic fertilizers they are. And then, like I said, it is slow release, so it does take a while before the plant stops getting some of that nitrogen. So in this case, I'm going to use 4 scoops or 4 tablespoons of guano. Do is just layer the top, and I'm kind of trying to stay away from the stem itself. So basically in a ring. So that's 1, 2, sorry, it's starting to get a little windy. 2, 3, and I'm going to do one more. 4. And what I put in there was the bat guano. And like, there is a link. I'll put a link on the bottom with the link of where I got everything. So this is my mixer, my nutrient mixer. So basically now you're just gonna mix it into the top layer soil. As I mentioned before, I really like guano. I've used it in in my regular gardening when I do regular soil gardening, organic gardening. And I felt like I got really good growth. So and the guano, we're gonna apply it as every month. You can use it every 3 weeks, but I'm always a little paranoid. So okay, and now I'm just gonna press down on the soil, not too hard. And that is how this is how I transplant into Coco Coir using my own items. In the past, I've used different types of fertilizer, organic ones, and I never had it on hand when I wanted to do it with cocoa, because I always planted my cocoa first, or my plants in cocoa first, and then by the time I had the guano, like, yeah, so it was mostly because of timing. So, but yeah, so if you have any questions, if you have any comments, definitely leave them in the comment section below, and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of my updates, and I will see you on my next video. You guys have a good rest of the day.